Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good morning. Uh, Today we are from KBI, but first let me introduce my team. First, there is Lutfi Hilman Firdaus, with student ID number 1018, and me, Muzaki Gusan Effendi, with student ID number 2013. For today, we would like to explain the environmental protection and management. Without further ado, we will directly go to the presentation. The first slide will be explained by Lutfi. For Lutfi, time is yours.
All right, thank you, Muzaki. So the first is about macro level instrument or planning. The function is to establish the region's carrying capacity, or Indonesian.
Lutfi, I think your mic is in trouble, no?
Oh,
Your
should I
microphone.
repeat?
Yeah, I think you should repeat.
All right, thank you. So, environmental protection and management plan has function to establish the region's carrying capacity, or in Indonesia we call it daya dukung and daya tampung. The role is to act as the scientific baseline for all long-term development plans. The next, you can see on the left pictures the layers of environmental defense, from policy to execution. There are national policy and law, which is Undang-Undang Nomor tahun 2009, hingga ke bawah project execution and monitoring. Next slide, Mus, please. The second one is strategic environmental assessment, or KLHS. The definition is, it is a systematic analysis that ensuring sustainable development principles integrated into policies, plan, and programs, or KRAP. The crucial role is to serve as a mandatory filter for special planning, or RTRW. So without strategic and environmental assessment, the spatial plans are legally flow. RPLH represent the biological constraints of our ecosystem. The strategic environmental assessment, or KLHS, acts as the policy auditor. Before any special plan is approved, the strategic environmental assessment must validate that the plan does not exceed the environmental carrying capacity defined in the RPPLH. Next, Mus. And then the micro level instrument on the operational control. There are environmental approvals, which are first AMDAL, and environmental impact assessment, EIA, and then UKL-UPL, environmental management and monitoring effort, and legal shift. Next, Mus, please. First, environmental impact assessment, the mandatory for high risk activity with significant environmental impact. The outcome is the degree on environmental feasibility, or SKKL. And then there is UKL-UPL, environmental management and monitoring effort. It is a mandatory for activities with non-significant impact or lower risk. The outcome is a statement of environmental management undertaking, or PKP-LH. And then there is legal shift. These instruments are now prerequisites for business licensing atau perizinan berusaha. The next slide, Mas. It is about comparative metric, AMDAL versus UKL-UPL. As we mentioned before, the risk level significant for AMDAL is high risk or significant impact. It applied to activities with complex, large-scale, cumulative, or reversible impact on the environmental and social structures. Next slide, Mus. Why the strategic environmental assessment implementation gap? Why the delay? So we can see in the fishbone on the right side, there are man, method, material, and machine that make it delays. Next, Mus. The first factor is the political economy of space. There are land value implication, zoning decisions such as conservation versus commercial that drastically alter land valuations. The consensus trap, the policymaker or the president governors delay ratification due to unresolved friction between extractive industries and environmental recommendations, and litigation risk that ratifying a disrupted special plan invites lawsuits or tata usaha negara from investors to or civil society, and strategic delay that leaders often choose stagnation over the political instability of forced decisions. Next, Mus. And then factor 2, the geospatial data deficit. The prerequisite online licensing like OSS required detailed spatial plans or a DTR at 1 compared to 5,000 scale. And the reality, the Geospatial Information Agency has not yet mapped the entire archipelago at this granularity. So the consequences is the local government hesitate to sign regulation based on inaccurate maps to avoid boundary disrupts and legal criminalizations. And one map policy implementation, it's still a work in progress, causing a bottleneck for downstream regulations. Next, Mus. And then the third factor is sectoral fragmentation, because in Indonesia, there are fragmented authority. So Ministry of Agrarian Affairs has authority for land, and the forest zone is under Ministry of Environment and Forestry. For coastal zones, it's below the Ministry of Marine Affairs. And for mining zones, it's under control by Ministry of Energy. So the substantive approval or persetujuan substansi, the synchronization process between local draft and national ministries often enters a multi-year loop of revisions, and the legally issues it resolving in historical illegal land use like plantation inside forest areas that stalls the entire legalization processes. Next, Mus. And the fourth factors, last but not least, the incentive structures. Because the data intensity, it requires expensive and multi-year time series data on environmental quality, which is fiscally burdensome for local budget, and there are self limitation because RPPLH legally defines carrying capacity limits. So there are such a paradox that by signing an RPPLH, the leader effectively limits their on such a discretionary power to issue any future permits. So the result, without a strong political will, there is zero incentive to accelerate a regulation that restrict economic expansions. I think that's all. Giving back to Muzaki. Thank you, Mus.
Okay, thank you, Lutfi, for your great explanation. So for the next slide, our next topic, I will explain about the relationship between environmental protection management, or we call it PPLH in Bahasa, and its main instrument, which is RPPLH, KLHS, AMDAL, and also UKL-UKL. So these instruments are not separate regulation. They are like interconnected, but it is still in one environmental governance system, which is Undang-Undang number 32 of 2009 regarding the PPLH. So first, I would like to mention that PPLH or Environmental Protection Management is the umbrella legal framework. So as defined in Article 1 of Law number 32 of 2009, environmental protection and management is systematic and integrated effort undertaken to preserve environmental functions and prevent pollution and or environmental damage, encompassing planning, utilization, control, maintenance, supervision, and law of enforcement. This means that EPM, or we call it PPLH, is the overall legal framework governing the environmental governance in Indonesia. Meanwhile, the RPPLH, KLHS, AMDAL, and UKL-UPL are the instruments used to implement this framework. So here I already made the nested hierarchy. First is RPPLH. It serves as the foundation or the master plan. It determines the environmental carrying capacity, meaning how much a development an area can sustain. And then there is KLHS. It serves as the policy filter. It ensures the government plans like city planning or industrial zones do not violate the limits set in the RPPLH. And then the third is AMDAL or UKL-UPL. It's based on the scale. So this is serve as the operational control. It ensures that a specific factory or project use the right technology to keep its impact below the standard set by the previous two levels. So the system flow from macro level planning to project level control. And in the figure in the right side, as you can see, first is PPLH as an umbrella system, and then at PPLH, long-term environmental planning, and then KLHS, policy sustainability assessment, and then AMDAL or UKL-UPL as the project level environmental control, and then environmental permit, and then monitoring and law of enforcement. And the next, actually, Lutfi has already explained about this, the delay, the 16-year delay of RPPLH. So recently, the RPPLH just been have legally in the PP number 26 of 2025. So I take from the environmental outlook book from Walhi, title Melanjutkan Tersesat atau Kembali ke Jalan yang Benar. They talk about the delay of this. So they refer it as regulatory capture. So there are major components. First is prioritizing investment over environment. So the national development agendas have historically prioritized the economic acceleration, often sidelining environmental control instruments that might slow down the industrial growth. So they have another focus and urgency. And then regulatory obstacles. In the previous regime, the omnibus law effect, the enactment of the job creation law or omnibus law is viewed as the gateway that weakened the environmental safeguards. The delay of the RPPLH allowed the governments to issue large-scale extractive permits before a strict master plan for protection was in place. And then technical harmonization. Technically, the RPPLH must align with the National Long-Term Development Plan or RPJPN in the 2025 until 2045. The timing of the PP 26 of 2025 was intentionally set to synchron with the new 20-year development cycle starting in 2025. Then the systemic weakening of instruments. The control tools like KLHS and NPPLH were allegedly delayed to prevent them from obstructing the national strategic projects such as food estates and the nickel downstream. And then resource exploitation window. The delay created a legal vacuum that allowed the mass issuance of mining business permits. According to the Walhi, millions of hectares, including protected forests, were exploited before the NPPLH could impose restrictions. And then policy privilege. The document suggests that political and business elites were granted like privilege to extract the natural resources through aggressive economic policies at the end of the previous administration's term. And then the post factoris, there is a significant concern that this PP of 26 2025 may serve as a mere administrative formality to legalize the existing environmental damage, rather than acting as genuine protection tool. I think that's all for our presentation and discussion about uh, environmental protection and management. Thank you for Lutfi and thank you for listening. I think that's all. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.